Looks like he muted everybody.
Oh, did he mute everybody or did everybody just
No,
mute?
everybody
Okay.
just went quiet.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
'cause
I think
could
he's
feel-
being
thought
funny.
somebody was
Okay,
going to
gotcha.
read. What the fuck?
We're waiting for Michael, though, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we're waiting for Michael.
Yes, the recording was already in progress, you bot.
Yeah, I did
There
that
was
twice.
only one of the recordings. Now we're recording twice.
Double the
Recording
fun.
and streaming.
Or twice the cringe.
Hey, how's it going,
Hey.
everybody? Welcome to today's mic check. If I
Nice
sound a
setup.
little bit funky, that's because I'm in a brand new room, as you can tell by the background. There's actually
It
stuff behind
is.
me.
Ooh.
And look, there's us. There's a small version of us right there. So,
You're
Fancy
echoing a lot.
schmancy.
yes,
Get to
Yeah.
watch
indeed
the
I
mic
am.
check in real time.
Yes, double mic check. One quick second.
One.
Probably gonna try to keep it from echoing.
And he
that
left
was
again.
already used, buddy. It, was
it will never be
used.
funny.
What will never be funny? I don't get it.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, so it was more than one. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
I pulled that earlier, Michael. Carissa
Oh,
was
yeah,
not
I know.
impressed.
Trust me. I'm well aware of the shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Are you?
Okay, no
Everyone's
more echoing,
favorite
right?
word.
Any echoing? Testing?
Yes,
One,
you sound
two.
good.
Cool. Just to make sure that we got that all taken care of. Well, anyway, welcome everybody to the mic check. We've spent more than plenty of time waiting. All of you have spent more than plenty of time waiting. And looks like we do have at least one new face joining us. So real quick, right now what we're doing is a cold read. So if you want to participate, you might be called on. If not, let us know in the chat and we'll refrain from calling on you. But for now, we're going to assume that you want to participate with us if you're here. So the cold reads, we're not expecting anything perfect from you. Just give us what you got. And we're going to go ahead and start with Brett. Brett, whenever you're ready, go for it.
Sweet. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. Marcus.
Okay. Where did the script go? There it is. Okay. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. Mateo.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. Alice.
All right, cool. I'm coming through, cool? All right, awesome. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. And I'll pass that over to Justin.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I bring her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. Leonard.
Oh, there we are. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. Oh, Emily.
Okie dokie. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. Let's see who hasn't gone yet.
Cece hasn't gone.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say is that hi Cece. I just saw that you're the one that said that. Is Ashley not gonna go? I think Ashley said no. So okay.
I was away, but I can go. But me or Cece.
Ashley, I don't recognize your face. Are you the one that's new?
I am new.
All right, sure. Have at it.
Hi. Okay, I'll try it. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is a gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. And pass that to Cece.
Thank you, Ashley. All right, 1 second. Oh, we have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. As Cindy?
Yep, that's me.
It? Okay, that's it, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the terror widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. Okay, let's go with Michael.
Okay. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and cold. It is inevitable. Royce, are you reading with us today?
Yes, thanks for having me.
All right.
How's my volume?
Sounding good.
Great.
Go ahead and give us a
Perfect.
read whenever you're ready.
Mhm. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, Hatim, you're up.
All right.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back in, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Reads time.
So now that, thank you, Marcus. Now that we've all had a chance to read, we're now moving into the discussion portion of the mic check. So we're going to, I'm going to move you over here. So we're now going to go ahead and talk about how this is used, mic technique, everything like that. So let's go ahead and discuss this. We have a little bit of our own sort of shorthand to how we refer to the various different types of technique that we use for these scripts. There's voiceover, where you are the center of attention. You need to be the one who's capturing your listeners' full attention, and that is usually used for things that are a little bit more character-based, whereas voice under, which is our other shorthand, is more about trying to direct somebody's attention to images going on screen. That tends to be more commercial based, but there's some crossover between the two of those. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up to everybody. What do you all think? Is this voice over or voice under?
Over.
Over.
I'd say over.
Barry, you arrived just in time. Would you like to give us a cold read?
Hey,
yeah, sure. Hi, nice seeing you guys. I can almost argue for under because I've seen these commercials and sometimes it's just like kind of like quick show scenes and all this stuff. So
does he have the right script?
I just posted it, so if he doesn't, he's also in the Discord as well, and I post the script.
I would assume it's the Pillars of Eternity one, right?
It is. It is. So whenever you're ready, give us a read.
Okay. Oh, it's a very character is a main villain of the expansion, so it should be read with an ominous tone. Some rasp is needed with this. Should be slow and deliberate.
Yeah, that's the direction you're supposed to read the script.
Yep.
Just messing with you, man.
Yep. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is a gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
All right. So the argument continues, and no, it can't be both, even though I know Mateo's going to say both. Voiceover or voice under. We just want some votes, some ideas as to how this is going to be used. So we've already got some votes for voice over. Is anybody in the voice under camp? I'll go over. Okay.
Yes, it's voiceover.
I gotta say over.
It's actually
Over it
under.
is. Oh shit!
Oh shit! I was right.
Ooh.
Here's why. Here's the context for it. Okay, if you first off, the name of the project is up top, the Beast of Winter trailer. You are clearly pairing yourself up with images, with something that's going on screen. On top of that, you can also tell that this is going to be cut up with images based on how the script is written. As you can see, it's very almost poem-like in its structure. It's a line, space, line, space, line, space. That's also a really, really good indication that this is going to be spliced up with other things. Maybe the story is connected, but not every single line is going to be like directly connected. So this isn't like a dialogue so much as it is introducing people to the world of this particular expansion. Yes, Mateo, you're right. This could be both, but this is one of those rare occasions where it's actually a voice under character script. So you are playing a character, but you are trying to direct your listener's attention to the commercial on screen. So
the world will end right after these messages.
Yes, love it.
On the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
The Death Star will implode in 5, 4, 3.
Yeah, if only it had that countdown, then there would be actually some levity during that scene. But so the thing is the instinct to make this a very full-fledged character read is 100% accurate, and it's very apparent that this is clearly a full-fledged character read. But in this read's particular context, it would be voice under. So what exactly denotes a voice under read? Well, technically, that's going to be a little bit quieter on the microphone, a little bit closer, some active hush. You're not trying to take center stage. You're trying to play with what the viewer is seeing. This is a commercial. It's not a commercial read. It is a character read, but it is presented very much so like a commercial. So
I have a question.
Yes.
Are you saying this because where you got the script, you add the context to, oh, this is actually a script for a commercial, or you're just doing an analysis and getting out that there is a commercial? Like, do you know do you know it for a fact?
From the trailer.
From a trailer. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. This script came from the trailer for this expansion.
Okay.
So yes, it is a commercial that has aired.
But I guess to that point, you know, you see
Borderlands?
something like a Borderlands commercial, right? Where they show like, I'm the captain of the poop deck. And that's going to be more character because it's like highlighting the character, right? And so that's going to be like, so maybe trailer doesn't default mean. To Mateo's point.
Here's the thing. When it comes to cutting up scenes from in-game, no, all of that's going to be voiceover. All of that's going to be high character, very much so a direct illustration of the ridiculousness. Because I mean, that's just Borderlands anyway, if we're talking specifically Borderlands. But if it's stuff that's pulled from the game and played over, then yes, that's all going to be voiceover. It's all going to be high character work. But this was, as far as I understand, now forgive me, I haven't played this game, so nor this expansion, so I don't know the context here. But this, as far as I can tell, was written specifically for the trailer. And from what I remember hearing and seeing, this was very much so written to be used specifically in that context, because it shows scenes from the game that aren't voiced or sounded. The only thing you hear is music and this narrator speaking.
And music.
Yeah, the whole thing reminds me of like a cutscene intro to some epic video game.
Right. Although the intro cutscene, that would definitely be another different kind of technique to use. But yeah, in general,
this reminds me of one of those, like when they say a cinematic trailer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, it is, but it's still a trailer, and it still requires you to use, good etiquette for trailer recording and for trailer voiceover. So,
like always saying please and thank you.
Please, can you pay me on time for doing this recording for you? So, okay. Marcus did pull up a link to the trailer. Thank you very much for that, by the way. So let's go ahead and talk about it. What can we tell about this particular character just from what we've read alone? What are some things that you can tell about them?
Evil.
I'm evil. This narrator is talking to the player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, this narrator is probably ancient in age, so old, and has long-term knowledge of past events.
Also, it doesn't seem like a very like maniacal Disney villain type. It's like subdued.
Well,
Kind
I
of-
think they
Oh, go
have.
ahead. Sorry, Ashley.
Oh, no worries. I was gonna say, so they have a certain confidence, like so the whole like it is inevitable. Like they've already won at this point, and they're just along for the ride, and they're having fun.
That is a great
definitely
thing to
has
bring
a-
up for the character.
It
Confidence.
almost feels like it could be a god speaking. It has the confidence of a god.
It could. It
Yeah,
could.
parts
Ellis,
of
what were you
like
going to say?
higher power.
Oh, I just said
Sorry.
that this character definitely has an acceptance about them, as in like this would have happened even if I didn't interfere.
Okay. Royce, what was that? Sorry about that. Sorry about cutting you off.
No worries. Just sort of the text of sort of the higher power in play here and whatnot, or them being that higher power.
Yeah. So this character is definitely some kind of very powerful, very self-confident sort of outside force, right? Could we kind of start there with the characterization? So
I think
we have,
it's like maybe it's like an obvious thing to say, but I feel like he's like the BBG of the story, basically. It's like the final boss that is speaking to you, that you won't see for the entire game, and you will, and he's basically foreshadowing his presence in the final beats. Basically.
Gonna take a guess here. I'm gonna guess that's gaming lingo. Does that mean big bad guy?
Yes,
I
he's
was
D&D
right.
lingo.
I was
He's
right.
the
Woo.
big bad guy.
okay. So we already have some characterizations. We already have very self-confident. What are some other ways that we can characterize this sound or what we're going for with this character?
He could be what's the word? Because of the line we haven't finished business, you and I thought he probably was defeated by the player in another section of the game. So he might have some what's the word? Hatred. I mean, it's not hatred, but
like a grudge.
Yeah, grudge.
Yeah.
That's the word. Yeah. So he needs to be like seething with it, maybe.
Yeah, this is. I think this is someone who definitely isn't easily. Who is that?
Leonard.
But unlike me, I think that this character is definitely someone who isn't easily perturbed or distracted. I think he's got his eye on not necessarily the prize because he's convinced that it'll happen regardless, but his eye on the future, I guess we'll say.
It's definitely interesting because like I can totally see like kind of vengeful, like really dripping and like this venomous language, but I could also see it almost seems like he's trapped in a loop and it's like this keeps happening to him over and over and over. It's inevitable. So it's almost like there's a hopelessness to him where he's like, I'm already kind of bound to this fate. We keep doing this. Every time this happens, the tear widens. It keeps happening. It's inevitable. So it's almost like this cold, detached feeling, perhaps. That could be kind of cool. But
Going off of like vengeful, the each time line gives me an idea of like trying to give a sense of it being futile or something.
Yeah, I definitely don't think this guy's really easily concerned or like unsettled. He's
I
definitely
think
not that kind of dude.
there's like a hidden thing that you can get if you know words, which I didn't know the word entropy, so I just looked it up. And entropy is basically anarchy or chaotic. So I think you can play with that too, like keep him calm and collected, like the directions say, but you can also throw a little bit of chaotic sense in there. I know one of you guys, I can't remember who it was, but in your cold read, you reminded me of Mark Hamill's character in the Darksiders stuff, the Watcher or whatever. And I was like, okay, so that could kind of work, like as long as you keep it calm and collected, but that sound is like there with that chaotic energy or unhinged energy and stuff. Just because of that line alone, my realm is the gaping maw of chaos. So like this guy's used to chaos. So yeah, he can be like null to how chaos is for him because that's his normal. But it's not normal for the player, obviously.
I thought the entropy was like the unending cycle of life and death.
Different definitions, scientific versus
technically, technically, entropy is the constant motion of things from going from order to disorder, but
thus anarchy.
It's essentially growing chaos. So
I was actually kind of interpreting entropy in this to be, and I'm not going to get too far into it, but kind of interpreting entropy as a distant reference to the theory of the heat death of the universe.
Yeah. Well, entropy is going to cause that. Cool. That's why that's going to happen. Yeah.
And the villain reveling in the coming nothingness of the full entropy of the universe.
Ooh.
Okay, so personal stakes in that. I like it. Okay.
I have a character reference. This script reminds me of Smaug from The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Somehow I was immediately thinking of the announcer from Darkest Dungeon, and now I can't unhear it. I don't know if anyone knows it.
Familiar with the game, not familiar with the actor. But so if we could sort of typify this, if we could sort of like, finish up that characterization, they are beasts of winter over here. They're cold, they are determined, they are self-confident, and malicious. I think that's a general good idea of sort of the feel that this is giving us. Does anybody have any other but before we actually, because I think a lot of this, since it is a character script, a lot of this is really going to come down to individual actors' choice on how they're going to portray that. But I think having a decent idea of where you want to go, who this person is, who you are in relationship to who the listener is really going to help narrow down and define those choices a little bit more. So before we move on, does anybody have any additional questions, comments, anything like that about the script or about what we've talked about so far?
Would this be like a 30-second ad? Okay.
Yeah, so you have plenty of time to move through the script. I mean, this could be a 15-second ad and you'd still have pretty good amount of time.
Do we know what kind of person or thing this villain is? Is it a dragon, a wizard,
nope.
Talking blob?
It's just a voice.
It's a super gay hairdresser.
It's just a voice in your head.
Well,
Justin, it's just a voice in your head.
Justin brings up a good point, though. Like, I mean, sometimes you get a character reference, you get an image, but
that is
a lot
true.
of times you don't. So yeah, you do have to just kind of wing it.
I would
They are saying raspy. They're saying slow and deliberate. They're saying calm and collected. They gave you those notes, the ones that I read out loud.
Well, you should also look at the title too, because it says Beast of Winter. So you would think of like some animal that is hairy, that has some sort of protection against the cold.
I know with me, with my first read, like I brought my lower jaw forward, like I had like tusk fangs and stuff. So that's probably what I'm gonna stick with. But because of the beast thing that you mentioned and stuff, so that's kind of what I'm going with.
So you guys are going very literal with it. Very literal.
You are moving into Warhammer 40k orcs Cockney accent.
It doesn't have to be Cockney.
Yeah,
I don't know this game at all. So like, but if this was a real audition for me, I'd be researching what this game is like. So that's also something to keep in mind too. Research
I wish it
pretty good reference to have
research the game if it's a franchise.
Yeah, it is. I played the sequel that was Divinity Original Sin, I think.
I believe they are. At least they are from the same house, Larian Studio. I believe.
Well, yeah. So in short, we don't necessarily know exactly who this character is or what they are based on what we have here from the audition, but we can definitely make some inferences and yeah, have a little bit of creative freedom in that sense to go with whatever it is that you want to. Since it does say beasts of winter, maybe this character is one, maybe they're around one, maybe they're pretty savage and feral, maybe it just, it's actually describing just really savage people, maybe it's more figurative than literal. So we kind of have our own creative freedoms in that sense to take that in whatever direction that we want to. Again,
I would just add play to your vocal strength for this one. Like
Yeah.
if like
Yeah.
me, like I don't get into that bass register very often. Like that's not a very comfortable place for me. So I'm a tenor typically. So like the furthest I go is like baritone. But if that's your case, if you're bass, like use it. Like Marcus, you hit that bass area really well. And I was like, ooh, I like this a lot already, just on your cold read and stuff. And I was feeling it, but I was like,
Would you
yeah,
say-
my bass, I don't think it was hitting it.
would you say that Marcus is all about that bass?
All about that bass.
No.
No treble.
He's
No
based.
treble. Sorry. Anyway,
You fell
sorry
into
about that.
that
I
one.
could not.
That was
Say
nice.
before we get
anyway,
copyright sniped.
Yeah, before this gets any worse. Yeah, the thing that I know I'm going to be looking mostly for is going to be whether or not you really focus on your character's intention and their that natural inclination towards the cold, calculated demeanor versus sound of the voice. Because yeah, everybody's going to have different pipes and everybody's going to do different things, and what's going to work for one isn't going to work for another. So don't be too worried about your vocal qualities, your biology. Be more worried about your mindset, about where your head is in terms of delivering this script. So with that said, why don't we go ahead and get into the directed reads. So for those who are new here, what's going to happen is we're going to go back through the same reading order that we were in before. I've already got that listed out, so don't worry about it. But this time it's going to be directed reads. We're going to give input and feedback to the readers based on their performance to see if they communicated the goal and intention of the script well. We have two rules for this section that are really important, and Mateo is going to be the one to enforce them because he does that every single time. These rules are, I would say these rules will apply to you from here on out, but that's up to you whether you want to do that. But they are the Dan rule and the Nephilim rule. These are both named after former attendees of the mic check. The Dan rule states that when you are up to perform, you cannot, under any circumstances, criticize your own read. You need to be fully focused on just your performance. You leave the feedback or any criticisms or whatever to whoever's directing you. You need to be the performer when you are behind the microphone. And the Nephilim rule is you cannot apologize for your read.
Your mic just went weird.
Yeah, what the fuck up?
Yeah, we can't hear.
Silenced.
Anyway, you can't apologize for your read.
Yeah, right as you were gonna say before, during, and after, it cut
Nothing.
out.
Got nothing.
we can, yeah.
Oh no! Did you unplug something?
Can he even hear us?
Oh,
He's going on
boy.
like he can't hear
Yeah,
us.
he can hear us. I think.
Yeah, he can
No,
hear
we got
us.
I
nothing.
think.
Not
Check
if
your
you can
mic.
hear us.
Hold up 3 fingers if you can hear us.
Yeah,
He can hear
yeah,
us.
He can hear us just fine. It's just his mic got unplugged or something.
Oh boy.
So
Okay,
he
well,
didn't
Michael can do
accidentally hear.
nothing about it. When he said the thing about pay attention to where your head is during your read, well, I'd certainly hope it's on my shoulders.
I think, and feel free for anybody who's here more often, feel free to correct me, but because he kind of stopped with the explanation of the Nephilim rule. A lot of it is like, sorry, my accent was terrible, or sorry, I know I wasn't very loud, anything like that. No.
Yeah, you don't want to get in
Exactly.
your own head while you're performing and stuff. You just want to focus on the performance itself.
Yeah, and for some of us, myself being one of them, and I think Leonard is also one. What definitely helps me stay out of my head is with my interface. I have a Scarlett Solo, and one of the options on it is active monitoring. So right now I'm talking to you all, but I can definitely hear myself going through the mic. When I go for a read just to try to help me stay out of my own head, the cans come off.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people are, I don't know, it's up to your own discretion on that. I hear like some people like it with like one ear on, one ear off, ears off in general, or ears on. Like it's just to whatever your personal preference is. But I do the ears off.
Yeah, we do it various ways. Do it however you like.
Yeah.
But
Whatever
if
works for
if
you.
we don't like your read, we might tell you to take the cans off. That's happened before.
Oh no, Michael.
no.
Poor
Can
Michael.
Yeah, we hear you
Am I
now.
coming through
Fuck.
now?
Hey, you're back.
Finally. What the fuck happened?
The
Well,
king
now
has
I'm no longer
returned.
hardwired into the wall, so this is all on Wi-Fi.
Well,
But the
hear you.
Oh
Wi-Fi is
God,
literally
with
right
your,
on the
with
other
your
side of the wall
shirt and
behind
all
me,
of the
so-
monitors, with the shirt and all of your monitors, you look like a Best Buy like Geek Squad.
All right, guys, you caught me. That's my day job.
Michael's the Best Buy salesman.
I mean, what else am I going to do with this voice, right? Anyway, yes, thank you for covering me while my equipment decided to have a conniption. Brett, whenever you're ready, go for it.
Cool.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay, opening it up. What did you all think?
Personally, I like that he put his own spin on it because he's like me where we can't do those bass voices, but he turned it around into something that fits him. So I was pleased with it.
Did you go for a bit of insanity? He's used to because you said he's used to the chaos and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I can hear that. Nice.
Like
That's
just
cool.
a slight unhinged, but he's used to being unhinged. I mean, pretty
was very
much
good.
like that Mark Hamill that I brought up, kind of like the Joker and stuff too. Like that's just how he views the world. So yeah, so I feel like that's gonna be in his voice.
This might be a me thing. It felt to me like you were holding back just the tiniest smidgen.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I want you to go a little further.
Okay.
Interesting. So we're moving entirely away from like the realm of like this is more reserved, this is more cool and composed, I think. Because I think your read that you did there definitely carried more of the characterization and less of that cool, composed, like I didn't really feel that. And based on what Ellis is saying, it sounds like everyone wants you to just go ham. So you don't even have to
let's
do
not
that
get
read. So
crazy.
it's like-
I did not say that.
Yeah.
Ham might
But-
be a little too far.
Yeah.
But
Like
Yeah.
for example, and again, this might have just been a me thing. To me it felt a little too subdued, to the point that it didn't seem like you were all that confident. It didn't seem like you were in control of what's going on. It's like, this is inevitable, right? To me it gave off a vibe that, what's the point of me doing anything, instead of trying to convince the player that you can't stop this.
Okay. I think I know what you mean. Okay.
I think what's maybe also an interesting thing that I just kind of thought is that I think there's a sort of like this sing-songy sustained way of how you like keep your speech going. And if things were more punctuated, I wonder if it drives the point a little bit more. of like I wonder, you know.
Well, let's keep that in mind, because that's really clashing from what we're getting so far. But let's keep that in mind. Maybe that'll be a third take. But I'm interested to see what this like less reserved second take is going to sound like.
I have one more thing though.
Okay.
Look, the writer is worried about semantics. Oh boy. Uh, does this though sound ominous, or does this sound more like unsettling?
To me, I'm sorry to say, it sounded like you were putting on a voice. And maybe it's just me, and if so, ignore it. But I wasn't really buying the character.
It's not just you. I normally wait until the second read through to see if the pattern sticks, but or I normally wait until the second read through before I really speak up, just to see if what I notice in the first one pops up again in the second. But yeah, it does feel more like you're putting on a voice and not becoming the character, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So basically, y'all are all saying that he didn't connect with the script, right? Is that what y'all are all saying?
That's kind of what it sounded like. Seeing as how Ellis kind of wanted you to go a little bit more with it, and we're saying that it sounds like you're more putting on a voice than you are actually a performance. Yeah, I think CC, you summed it up pretty well there. That I think what we really need you to hear is you really investing yourself in the script a bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say do it in your natural voice with whatever attitude, and see how
I
it
don't
goes.
have a rasp in my natural voice.
That's okay. I don't care.
We don't need it.
Okay. All right.
I think you can still go quieter in your own voice, and I think that would still help you get into character. I think you can do that.
Okay.
Be like quiet.
Tried zone one. Let's see what that comes out as.
Okay.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay, I'm curious. What did you all think?
I think this one felt a lot more confident, a lot more assured.
I definitely felt the ominous going into like the tear widens, the world will end. Like I was feeling like the ooh, okay. Whereas before, I think it felt like you were like, the world will end in stillness and in cold. Ooh, you know, like a little bit of
Like comical ominous.
yeah, a little bit. It was like,
Okay.
A Cartoon Network villain,
yeah.
and not a video game villain.
I heard calmness for sure, but I feel like this character could be more intense, and I think that was missing from this read. It was almost kind of calm and sleepy in a way. Yeah, I think you can up the intensity for your next read.
See, I can see what you mean at the very beginning of your Brett's delivery, but I felt that he really got comfortable with it as he went along. I was going to say that you add some post processing in on that, maybe a reverb or just a little bit of extra on the effects chain, and that could be a really solid read, really solid take to send in. But yeah, let's see if you can, because I noticed there was a little bit of I wouldn't say slurring, but some pronunciation difficulty, not difficulty, but things were a little bit muddled at the beginning.
Okay.
Maybe just be more careful about how you deliver the lines and be more clear, and yeah, see if you can really get in it from the get-go. If you need to, give yourself a little bit of a lead into.
Okay.
So I really like where this is going, though. I think in general we just need to do some slight adjustments.
All right.
Yeah, my take is you're not trying to threaten anybody. You're just stating this is how it is. And the reason you're not trying to threaten anybody is because if you're going to squish a cockroach, you're not going to be threatening it. You're just going to squish it. Like there's nothing this person can do. Why even bother threatening them? They're beneath your notice almost.
Okay, so you don't want me to threaten, you just want me to state, like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like this is
state,
just the way
well,
it is.
this is how the world's going to end. Deal with it because you're toast.
So I have one qualm with that, and it's just the way that the script starts. We have unfinished business, you and I. So clearly that is, this character's interaction with the main character is something that's more important to them than just, I'm just stating the obvious. I think going with that sort of self-assured confidence is right, in that you're very confident you're going to win this time.
Yeah, it's interesting because it implies that he's personally involved in the situation. This isn't just any character. There's some history there, This actually kind of matters to him. There's some stakes there. But at the same time, like it almost now as I'm reading it almost gives me like a Sephiroth Cloud sort of vibe of like Sephiroth, like
I could see that.
threatening, a little bit of
No.
No, I know.
Keep
all the
anime
FF7
out of this.
That's Final Fantasy VII. That's a video game, man.
Yeah, that's I not don't give a animated.
shit. Keep your anime bias out of this when there is no anime in it.
Yeah, there's no anime.
Beast
of Winter, not Sephiroth. It's Japanese video game. It's a JRPG, but it's not anime.
Anyway,
I actually do completely get that what that whole idea is, because just looking back at the fight at the end of Advent Children, there is a certain assured dark confidence that the English VO for Sephiroth managed to pull off.
Yeah.
There's certain specific lines that I'm not going to waste time quoting them or anything, but there's just I'm just playing with you until the actual end kind of energy that's coming from Sephiroth from that specific scene. So I definitely see the reference there, and that I could see that going well with this character.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you're ready, go ahead and give us a third.
Okay.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay. Opening it up. What did y'all think?
I think you're really getting there, but I think what will put you over the top is if you played more with like pauses and like kind of really chewing some of the words here. Like you can be that cannot be sated. You could do like stuff like that and just really chew some of the things and really like relish in some of the things. You can really punctuate certain words and show like in cold and like sit on it a little bit, because right now it feels like there's like the same tone in the pace of how you deliver every line, and it kind of makes it difficult for me to like concentrate on the character. It almost seems like you're reading through the script, So
Okay.
I think that'll help you like put you over the top. Like right now it's good, but I think it could be like great if you can do stuff like that.
So monologue it.
Yeah, I think so.
Like make it a little more dramatic.
Yeah, own it.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Make your drive your point home.
Yeah.
The tone was kind of same all the way through. So throw in some kind of turns, and I don't know what kind of turns, but throw in something.
Okay. one more.
Sure.
Unless
Let's hear
anybody
one
has
more.
anything they'd like to say.
I might chime in here. Something I really like the last two reads. Like I think closer to your more natural voice, it sounds like, again, it's gonna be more natural. And I think you found like a happy medium between the two where it does sound dark and sinister. What I'm thinking maybe is less worrying about like emphasis on words and things because we can get tripped up in those. I would think more about like, we already established we're talking to the protagonist. How do you feel about them? Think about how they make you feel. What kind of relationship do you have with them? And maybe that'll help you like really ground this character.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Whenever you're ready, go for
Okay.
it.
One second.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy. The hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Can you give us one more take of the last line, please?
Okay.
It is inevitable. Just let's not break up inevitable quite as much. Just retake that one once more.
Okay, got it.
It is inevitable.
Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and open it up there. What did you all think?
I got chills. I know I've been silent like most of the time, so I just have to jump in here and say I got chills. Especially when you got to the part about the tear widens and all of that. The way you put chilling emphasis on that just was so good. I can't think of what else to say other than I literally got chills. I felt the villaininess. I know that's not a word. Of
It is here.
It is now a word. I felt the villaininess of it without it being in your face. It was just, it was it.
Yeah, I definitely think this is your best take. And I would recommend definitely like listen back to this one and see how it contrasts to your previous two takes. Because again, I think you really pushed it over the top with this performance. I really liked. You listened. It was cool. Like I liked how you played around with hunger and sated, and that each time I drag her back, and it was like a nice change from the first. Because the problem is that it's a little bit of a mini list in that thing, and so you were able to break it up in the way that you never did in the other ones. So whenever you see the same word, like each time, sometimes you can choose to read it in the same way to have this parallelism, but I think in general you would prefer to do a change up there to make it so it's not just I'm reading the same thing.
No,
but
definitely.
no,
I definitely
you're doing
agree
a lot
with
of
you
cool
because
stuff.
it's a compare and contrast kind of thing. Even like because she escapes, but he drags her back. She escapes, but he drags her back. Like every time. Honestly, I thought of Hades with Is it Persephone?
Zagreus. Oh, Persephone. Okay.
Is it Persephone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Like that's
Excuse
that's
me, I
who
believe it's
thought
pronounced
of.
Persephone.
Persephone. That's
No,
a gay
but-
character's interpretation.
So, I think this read did have the deepest emotional connection to it. Your expression with this character was excellent. Really, really, really good. My only one issue is just with that last line with the inevitable. You still kind of fumble it up a little bit, and I think you could just be more sure on that ending. It is inevitable.
Yeah, for sure. There was like 100 different ways I wanted to read that. Like
The struggle is real. The struggle is real,
figure
but
out
ultimately,
the right one.
I think
the
what. Oh, okay. I'll just go really quickly. I think one thing not to go for is the inevitable. Like, no, just cut it off. It's the end of the sentence. Just cut it off. I think that's what's maybe
Yeah.
throwing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was exactly my comment too. Don't end it with ellipses. No 3 dots. End it with a period.
Okay.
But I could really hear the hunger when you said hunger. I could hear the cold when you said cold. That was excellent.
Yeah, and
So good job.
Seriously really didn't need to do much modulating to your voice. It was perfectly on brand for this character and for this script. Really sold the idea. So again, that's why getting your mindset right is way more important than getting the voice down right, because the voice will follow.
Yeah.
Again, you nailed this one. You knocked it out of the park. I would say, we really need to work on just that last line, but that is really minor in the context of how you delivered the rest of it, honestly.
Okay.
So,
and we got a lot of people.
Yeah, there's that too. So, Brett, thank you very much. You did an absolutely fantastic job, and let's move it along. Marcus, you're up.
Okay.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay, opening it up. What did you all think?
That was really fun. It's cool to see how much you were really chewing up the dialogue. The one thing I'd be careful about is your breath control in the each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, you kind of choked up a little bit. But other than that, I think that was a great first read. That was great.
One
Thing
nitpick.
that I just
One nitpick was the line, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. You cut the back and the together, so it was like each time I drag her back, the tear widens. It was very clipped and then brought the two together. Kind of felt like that needed to be separated just a smidge as two separate thoughts.
I think maybe that goes back to what Barry said with the breathing. I think that could be why.
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
I was gonna say one thing that I thought was pretty neat, pretty interesting was the way you added a lot more air into your voice. It really sold the fact that this is a sort of wintry guy. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, if I were a casting director on this, I'd be ready to write you a check and not listen to anyone else. And that was good.
Yeah, I
could
agree.
get somebody to do that in real life.
That is the permanent struggle. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and give us one more read?
All right.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
You know, it's difficult to give feedback because it's mostly a really excellent read, but this time you did something that really confused me. In stillness and in cold, you really emphasized and. It came off less sincere. Stillness and cold. I feel are a lot more key because it's also a reflection of who this character is. You're putting yourself into it as well. So I personally disagree with the emphasis on and, but I'm open to other people disagreeing with me. So I'm going to open it up. Anybody else? What did you all think?
I don't personally disagree. I think that emphasizing and takes away from, like you said, the intimidation of it. Words.
Okay.
I heard it too, and it did register with me. I still thought it was a wonderful read.
I was like so hooked in, and it's almost like it didn't even bother me. But yeah, I think to that point, it's like, yeah, no, I mean, it's when you pointed it out, it's like, oh gosh, now I hear it. You know, it's like, okay.
The main thing that caught my attention was the end of inevitable, where the E sound, at the end of the word kind of was just like, it's like just sounded like wind.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I agree with that, Cindy.
All right.
Okay.
So one more read.
One final read.
One more read. Pull off the emphasis from and. We have the other one, so if you wanted to submit it, you've always got it recorded. We're just trying something a little bit different here.
All right.
Whenever you're ready.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
So I'm first going to start off by apologizing to Mateo. You're going to have to follow that. Just sorry.
Yeah.
You know, the proximity effect on that performance is going to be really difficult to fight against. So
I've got to say, you fixed the whole like weirdness with the longest line. So I think you nailed that. That's awesome. I think the stillness and cold thing worked. I think the one slight nitpick for me is that the pause between is and inevitable felt a tiny bit too long for me. But other than that, it's like
nothing a little post-processing couldn't fix.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
yeah, it'll do.
Yeah.
There. Now the check is written and it's on the way. Let's go ahead and move it right
The
along.
only thing I have to say is paste.
Oh, take it easy, Brett.
I'll see you guys.
Thanks for joining.
See you, Brett.
All right, Mateo, whenever you're ready, go for it.
We have you and I, my dog that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The stillness and cold.
You know, Mateo, it would be really great to be able to tell you something about that read, but it must be your noise gate. It must be something about your recording thing. But it cut off like 90% of what you said.
Oh God.
It almost felt like that could be a purposeful thing where it's like theory that it was like cutting in and out.
It's like the
We figured out
antagonist.
you were doing that yourself. I'm like, wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
We were convinced, and then some kind of glitch.
It was like the protagonist had them on the phone and they just kept covering the speaker.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, no, this is just the
It's a
first step of
Frontier
an
Wireless
ARG,
commercial the
obviously.
entire time.
Yeah, clearly.
Oh wait, is this like is it? I think this is Zoom. Right?
Yeah, that's not a
Because
bad
it-
idea. Yeah, maybe you should try turning on the original sound on, and maybe that would help you in the top if you have that option next to the live and Zoom.
Because I think that is the sound canceling thing. I think. Yeah, I also turned down the gain.
Turn down the gain. You did that. You can, yeah. So you can turn off suppress background noise. Is that what you just said? I think you can make it lower or something.
Where do you find it?
Oh,
I don't know,
go to
but
where you can go to where your mic is, and then you can click on the little carrot.
Yeah, I
and
know.
go to audio
I'm in the
settings. Yep.
options.
And then you
Okay,
can
what
go
is it?
in, and then right below microphone, it says suppress background noise. You can't get rid of it, but you can make it low, maybe. Or like maybe get rid of echo cancellation below that. So there's a checkpoint for that. I don't know. different
Oh,
things.
background noise. Okay, low.
Yeah, maybe lower it.
Anyway, try again, and if we can't hear you, we'll tell you sooner.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
or
you
know,
actually-
don't go doom voice guy.
You actually didn't hear anything.
We heard
No,
like next
it's
to
just
none of
cutting
it.
in and out.
Yeah, we heard
Cutting
like
in and out the
15%.
entire time. Yeah.
We hear the 15% that'll save you more on car
There was like
insurance.
there was like one full line in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, like that.
Yeah.
It would have been perfect for like a ghost character or something.
Exactly. That's why we were like, is this on purpose? Impressive. Like, creepy.
Okay.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy. The hunger cannot be sated. Each time the tear widens, the world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay, I'm opening it up. What did everybody think?
So did it work this time?
It
was time
worked.
we were
You
too-
lagged
It
for
worked.
like a tiny second, but it wasn't
Yeah,
bad in comparison
was
to
that.
the first time.
Yeah, we can actually
Yeah.
critique this.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
Oh, after you.
slower, I think.
Read.
Okay.
Speed.
I'm gonna say, well, maybe in addition to that, my thing, I thought the speed itself was kind of fine, but I feel like the ideas could be separated a little more.
Okay.
I think just inherently, as you practice this voice and practice reading it, it'll sound smoother. It definitely sounds like you're thinking about maintaining the voice. And so it's kind of like getting in the way of you actually acting and performing and making good acting choices. You know what I mean? So it's
Okay.
like, I'm tempted to say that the voice is maybe too much of a layer right now, but if you want to keep trying it, you can.
Hey, Mateo.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
I have a bit of a weird thing to suggest to you, but hear me out.
Tell me.
What does your morning voice sound like? Like if somebody asks you a question 5 seconds after you've woken up.
I know what you're talking about. I've
Like,
never noticed any major change, to be honest.
and maybe it might be a bit of my like choir background and kind of having an idea of like where my voice sits when I'm speaking like during the day versus when I'm speaking right after I woke up, and my voice sits down here and it's lower and it's more tired sounding, and why are you bothering me at 7 a.m.?
Uh-huh.
Like I kind of feel my voice box or I kind of intentionally drop my voice box down a little bit when I'm speaking like that to try to give more body to the bassier sections of my voice. I'm not sure if you're familiar with how to do that, but that may help the voice you're trying to do A, sound a little bit more natural, and B, be a bit easier to maintain. Because
if you ever can, I would look up like your chest voice, that sort of thing. Like that would be something to look into for sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna be
So-
honest. I feel like. Oh, sorry, Ashley. You
No,
were
no, no,
waiting.
please,
Go ahead.
Emily.
I
No,
feel
please,
like
go
you
ahead.
were trying to push too hard into intimidating and leaving out the aspect of the calm, calculating. You were pushing too hard into one and forgetting the other, kind of thing.
Okay. Okay, Roger.
So I might be the odd one out here. I'm thinking about the context of this being a trailer. I'm worried that the voice, both in how it sounds, the graveliness, and how low of a register it is, I think we're losing clarity. That might be okay for like in-game as a character, but when you're doing a trailer, you want to be able to understand it without subtitles. You want to be able to just, I don't know, it's like more presenting. I don't have a direction on that, but that was just my takeaway.
Okay.
Did you have anything else to say, Marcus? I don't know if we cut you off, but
No, it was just kind of wrapping up what I was saying into a neat little package. That's all. Okay. Anything else, boys, girls?
Go ahead, the second
Apparently
take.
not. Yep. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and cold. It is inevitable.
Sounds good to me.
yeah, I think that's much more. Did that feel more comfortable with you? Kind of that vocal range. You could definitely play around with it, maybe, but that felt more closer to your natural range. But I think it helped you a lot in terms of being able to kind of be more expressive. I felt like you were kind of boxed in when you were trying to do the super deeper voice, but it's definitely worth practicing it. If you want to have that to be one of your wheelhouse voices, practice it.
Oh, I definitely
Yeah.
will.
This one to me felt the most detached in a way that I feel suits the character.
Okay. Anything else?
Finally, I'll get you next time. Get it. Anyways.
I am Batman.
I think with this one, like they were saying, it sounded more attached to the character, detached from the scenario. I think the one thing that I would say about it is when you get more towards the middle is where it felt like it was like really comfortable for you. The beginning and the last line kind of felt a little shaky, and I'm not quite sure how to describe what I was hearing.
Okay. Roger
I,
that.
I could be totally wrong, but it's just what I heard.
So you are creating another rule now. Saying sorry for feedback. Don't be sorry about
I
feedback.
didn't say sorry. I said I could be wrong. Oh no, Mateo, you're great.
Is this going to be the Pinkie Pie rule?
Yeah. Okay. Well, should I do another
Hit us with it
take,
again.
or another take?
Yes, one more. Go for it.
Bye.
See ya, Sissy. Mike, sorry if you could mute yourself.
Thank you. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay, opening it up. What did you all think?
Better, but fast. Very, very fast.
I picked up the pace again. Okay.
I think if you like really deliberatively, and we keep like telling it to people, and they give the best freaking performances because they like sit and like really like relish in it, and it's like where we feel so like, oh man, you're so tethered to the character, and we keep saying that because it's like people are like, again, really like leaning into it. So like that'll naturally help you with your kind of your pacing and then that sort of thing. It'll also just help you be more expressive with the character, be more like connected.
Okay.
I missed a bunch of that due to a phone call, so this is only partial critique. My two notes would be one, yes, it was fast, slow it down. And two, I'd like to hear it delivered more coldly. I wasn't getting cold vibes at all. So say it like you're up in the Arctic somewhere and you enjoy being in the Arctic.
I got a sort of solemn acceptance here, which I won't say doesn't work, but I prefer a little more confidence in it. It felt like a, well, looks like my realm's fucked. Guess I can't do anything. Instead of telling the player, I will overtake your realm and you can't stop me.
I vibe with the if shit's broken, why worry about it though? Okay.
Yeah, so I agree with something that was said in the Discord here. You need to take more time with each idea. So control the pace a little bit more and go ahead and give us another read.
Okay. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and cold. It is inevitable.
Definitely much better on that pace. Much better with taking care of those ideas and really communicating them well. I thought that was your best read so far. Can open it up. What did you all think?
Same. Hard same. That was much that was definitely your much better read.
Agreed.
You actually like chewed the words a little bit and let them breathe in the cold. I may or may not really like voicing villains, so
Oh dude, villains I feel like are such good practice to just like really get yourself in there. I feel like so it's like I feel like heroes aren't ever as nuanced as villains. I feel like a lot of times in media, but
a lot of the times that kind of boils down to the writing, but I think this time for this particular performance, the control was there, the connection to the character was there, and the direct speaking to someone else was there. So, all in all, really worked out well. So let's
Thank you
go
very
ahead and move
much.
it right along then, shall we? Ellis.
Let's go on to the next.
All right,
Okay,
whenever you're
connection's
ready,
kinda
knock
wonky
us out of the
today.
park.
All right, cool.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay, opening it up. What did you all think?
I like the whisper on "It is inevitable."
Same.
That's one good thing.
I like that thing. I think helped you. You did a little physicality where you're like there, and it like I think it worked. Whatever it got you there, you did
Wait,
that.
wait, wait. What was it that he did again? What was that?
It was like,
Battle
Oh, okay,
stance.
got it.
yeah, there you go.
Gonna be honest, there's a couple points where it almost felt edging on too cartoony. Not, it didn't get too cartoony, but it felt like it was getting there. And the line with the each time I drag her back, it almost bordered a little bit on angry.
Is that a critique or is that something you noticed?
Something I noticed. Something I noticed.
Okay.
All right.
I actually wanted to ask you, how frequently do you practice with that voice?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, every now and again.
Every now and again? Okay. Because there were certain points of it where it sounded like you just didn't know how to modulate yourself and how to really communicate your ideas very clearly in that voice.
Okay.
For the most part, you had decent control over it. So I'm not going to tell you not to use it, but I think if you wanted to use it in this context, you really need to be able to or you really need to practice really expressing yourself with it. Like,
Okay.
very like,
was there a particular point where you're like, oh, that one? Ew.
My realm is the gaping maw of entropy. That whole line felt like you were riding the line between trying to control yourself and staying in that voice, and then trying to like communicate it. So or communicate what you're trying to say. So if you can get to the point where expression feels more clear and defined in that voice, that's definitely a tool that you can use. I really liked how you used it, and it definitely fits this character. But we need to work on that emotional expression with it. So instead of asking you to change anything major, I would say jump back in, give it another read, same voice and everything. Just really focus on your character's emotional state, on what you're trying to say.
Okay. All right.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay, opening it up. What did you all think?
I think he had more control of the voice this time.
Mm-hmm.
I think the line that each time I drag her back, it felt a lot more even with the rest of the characterization that you gave. It didn't stand out like a sore thumb kind of thing like I heard the first time. And again, that's just what I noticed.
Well, the first time I will admit the first time it was intentional.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's valid. That's valid. It just felt a little more. Just saying, even with the characterization, makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Here's a question for everybody. Is it too much whispering to have it whispered all the way through?
I was wondering that. I'm wondering if
did
that's what's
sound-
making it sound so uniform.
It did sound a bit whispery, yes.
It depends on the character, I guess.
I was
wanna
starting to
know,
tune you
what
out
I
if
had
I'm
in
being
mind when I was
completely.
doing this, or to sort of paint why I did that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I was frankly tuning out halfway through. It was
Admittedly, it made me more interested.
Okay.
All right, so now we have an interesting read for sure because we got a dichotomy going on here. But I mean, anybody else? Does anybody else have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I felt the whisper on your first read at the very last line was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a little too much the same spice all the way through now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So try this. We're just gonna throw something against the wall, see if it sticks.
Yeah.
The entire read, deliver it from zone 2, but the final line from zone 1.
2. All right. Let me move my chair. Okay. And zone 2 would be around here-ish.
Normal.
Cool.
Yeah, normal speaking distance.
And
from the mic.
I'm coming through okay?
Yep.
Awesome. Back to the stance, baby.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy. The hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cough. Gonna take that from the top there. Who else but Ellis? No, yeah. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy. The hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay.
Really,
Opening it
really
up. What did y'all
cool.
think?
But I've got to know like how much of the performance was intentional because you definitely like almost completely changed your vocal quality in the first half, and I was like, I wasn't sure if it was because you were struggling with the voice or if you were actually going for like a different thing. It definitely was like you were like, okay, no whisper at all, got it. Like, it would have. Can you comment?
Wish I could.
No, you can. You
pretty
can.
go with
It
the
isn't-
flow.
You're not.
Yeah,
If
no,
you
that's-
don't critique
Oh no,
your
I
own
just
read,
meant
you
that
can comment.
there was nothing particularly in my head in regards to the voice itself.
Oh, okay.
I had an idea for what I was doing with the personality and with the scene I had in my head, but there was nothing in my where I was like, you know what, it'd be neat if I maybe if I took away even more of that quality there.
That being said, I liked the contrast at the ending. Go ahead.
I like where you went with the voice. I have two nitpicks in terms of emphasis, though. You went, my realm, and I'd go more like my realm. And also, each time I drag her back, you hit the I super hard. And fix those two things, and I think I'll be happy.
Yeah, on that same kick, because most everybody's been saying everything that I'd been wanting to say, hence my silence.
Yeah.
I almost want to hear a little more focus for that sentence that each time I drag her back.
Yeah.
You're dragging her back.
Yeah, action words. Action words. She escapes.
Like you can
drag her.
You can and again, anybody feel free to, push back, but maybe lift drag just a little bit, because it's obvious that she's being dragged back. This is not asking. And either way, whether or not she leaves and stays gone or gets dragged back, the tear continues to open.
Mm-hmm.
It can give you some room to be a little bit maniacal there. It's like, I drag her back. She's mine. That's like that smog quality. I think we've somebody else brought up smog.
I should mention, I don't know who the fuck that is.
Okay, sorry.
I would avoid maniacal, though. On your first read, it sounded verging on jokery there for the first couple lines, and I like it much better on this last read where you went away from that a bit.
Okay.
And we're supposed to be cold and calculating.
Sinister undertone sort of thing. Not really maniacal, but like sinister overtone sort of thing.
Okay.
Marcus with the assist.
I would like to hear.
Yeah.
So you're really, really close. There's minor things to change. Go ahead, close in just a little bit closer onto the microphone. So maybe zone 1.5. So so you're not having to push out as far as you were.
Yeah.
But I love the contrast between your more full voice delivery versus the whispery towards the very end. That is, keep that up.
Cool. And then let me just make sure I have the
one last thing I'm wondering.
Less maniacal to more sinister overtones.
So now that he mentioned it, like maybe you try to quiet, like maybe you get kind of whatever the loudest on that third to last line, and you slowly get quieter, and so the whisper is almost like telegraphed a little bit, and then maybe it hits that much harder because it's like, ooh, it's not just out of nowhere.
Now my brain's a little small and smooth. When you say maybe, are you asking me to do that, or are you saying
yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. That'd be cool to
cool.
try to like play around with like the dynamics so it feels like there's like a lead up into the whisper. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool. All right, let's do this thing. All right. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Retake on the last one, slow it down. Last line, slow it down one more time.
Okay.
It is inevitable.
Okay, gonna open it up before I say anything. What do you all think?
He did the thing again, the emphasis thing. My realm.
I do think that this was your best take on the each time she escapes, each time I drag. I think that this was your best take of that by far. It was really fun. Yeah, really good read there.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I'm fine with just a one-line retake on the My Realm one. Everything else
So
sounds
I
great
I
to
have
me.
a question for that. I want to ask a clarifying question.
Yeah, go for it.
When you say emphasize realm more, would that so in my head I'm thinking in response to something else, like in response to something like my realm, like that's sort of what's coming to my head, but I just want to know what specifically you've got in mind for that scene.
I think it would help you to just button the my. Don't hit it as hard when you're doing it. It's like my realm. That's still emphasizing realm. Do you see what I mean? But I'm not going like that hard.
Okay, but
I think that's already just
I'll try
probably
it.
closer to what Leonard wants, right? Like,
Yeah, and if you emphasize my that hard, that implies that the previous sentence was your realm is unicorns and rainbows. My realm is whatever.
Now, okay, because just I have in my, can I mention the sort of scene I have in my head? Can I do that?
sure, go for it.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Because what I'm seeing is, as this is a trailer for an expansion, I'm saying like this is different from wherever you've been before. Like my place is different. That's what I have in my head. But so you want me to go for just more of a statement, just like a regular my realm is something close.
So I almost think you could have that same attitude, but still do the emphasis on realm, because it's still different from what we've said before. And just imagine like you're like panning shot over, I don't know, like the fjords and the mountains and like all of these things. Like that's what we're seeing in this trailer.
Okay.
To me, I see it the same reason why you emphasize stillness and cold. These are descriptive, like this is what you're expressing. And so realm, I think, resonates more. Even though I get what you're saying, like my feels like this like
I'm not
possessive
trying to fight anyone. I'm just I really
yeah,
want to
I'm just
get this
trying
clear in my
to
head.
like yeah. I'm just trying to say like why I think it works that way. Because I could definitely see it your way, where it's like my feels like this possessive, like oh, it's mine, blah blah blah. But like yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
So the thing is I think realm is being used. So realm, like a synonym for realm is also kingdom. My the thing that I have stewardship over, my realm. Even though I put more emphasis on my on that point. But I think that's kind of how it's being used here, is that this person, this character is sort of really trying to deeply communicate that they are an agent of pure chaos.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm wanting to say
I think I have it in my head.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm wanting to say it's not about you. It's about the inevitable doom of the protagonist.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
Oh, do you want me to do another take of the full script or just that line?
Whole thing, go for it. Whenever you're ready. From the top.
Cool. All right, awesome. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy. Gonna take that from the top. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy. The hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back,
the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Beautiful.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Ship it, baby.
Okay. Yeah, you did it this time.
All right.
Put it all together. That's what's up.
It's really
All
hot.
right.
That's.
Oh, yeah, you
going
did
on
good.
here.
You did
The
good.
AC on.
Yeah, you can
Oh,
turn the
hell yeah.
AC back.
Fucking finally. Yay.
All right,
Can you guys hear me?
Justin, you're up.
You guys can hear me okay, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world would end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay, I'm going to open it up. What did you all think?
I have two things. One, for I noticed for escapes and entropy, I don't know if this is because you're rushing through them or if this is something on my side. I'm hearing entropy, and I want to make sure that we hit that P there. Entropy. And then for escapes, these are very tiny, but for escapes, I heard escapes.
It's not just
as if
you,
there was
Ellis.
an
I heard it
X
too.
Instead of an
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I've heard escapes
Uh,
before, so I don't know if that might be a regional thing.
Maybe. But my other thing was that this guy, he doesn't, well, to me, I didn't get a calm, collected, aware that nothing will stop this sort of vibe. I got a big, bold, come, men, let us charge into battle. That's sort of what I got. And I think we can make that a little colder and a little more ominous.
Would it make sense if I said it sounded like you were talking in a box?
No, what does that mean?
So every word you said felt like the same straight edge. So essentially you were talking, your talking was making a box. You were just going edge to edge to edge to edge.
Like his delivery had a lot of like a lot of his delivery had the same pattern, and every other sentence kind of had the same construction and tone and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And kind of like what I was intentionally trying to do a little too much.
Yeah, like that.
Can I point out something I loved?
Go for it.
I loved the laugh.
Oh, yes, same.
I think have more fun with this and see what happens. That'll get you your confidence. That'll get you that like laid back.
It's so funny to me because I actually think you put in a lot of really like bold, because I've listened to a lot of your performances and it's really cool to see you go for more crazy stuff. Like you're really going out of your comfort zone. But that being said, parts of it it felt a little bit too hammy for me. I think there is a sense of melodrama to this, but I think it's much more gloomy. You gotta be gloomy. You gotta be a little bit, I don't know, whatever. Like right now, you were almost boastful, which is what this character doesn't really want to be boastful. It's more like there's this, he doesn't have to be. It's like he doesn't have to be boastful because he knows that he already won. So it's like, I don't even have to try. It's over.
Yeah, my direction on this would be deliver it like you're the Ice Troll King.
Ice Troll King.
That's gonna help.
What?
Interesting.
So
I want it to feel more cold.
Okay. So basically dial back some of the theatrics. Is that kind of the
Yeah, but be more intentional about this is a one-on-one grudge.
I think it's dramatic, is what it is. It's not theatrical. It's very kind of dramatic.
it's too dramatic.
No, well, no. If anything, I feel like your performance needs to be dramatic. The one you're doing right now is very kind of animated. I would say, kind of. There's a sort of like, um, yeah. Because when I think of theatrical, I think a little bit like over the top, a little bit. So I think you want to kind of pull back.
Yeah, the vibe I was getting was that you were approaching this as a fight between equals. And it's not a fight between equals. You're the boss, and this other guy is just doomed.
I guess you want to present this sense of despair, like you're really trying to like phone it in how like doomed they are, but you don't have. I guess it's weird because when you say that, then you think like you have to be like, oh, you are doomed, but it's like no, it's like you're presenting the facts in a very matter-of-fact way, and that's why it's like you're mathematically, empirically proving to this person why they're screwed. It's like with cold hard facts. This is why you are screwed.
Oh,
I think that. Oh, I think
that's why it's calculated.
Okay.
Yeah, this one was not cold, calm, calculated. This one was sudden and striking.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like the comment about he's not my peer, but he's not my peer. But he's not even a challenge to me, so I think I can work with that. And it's entropy and escapes, right? That escapes.
So you're still saying it. So S. So can you say capes?
Capes.
And then S capes. S capes. Yeah,
it's like Superman's cape. It's the escape.
Escape.
Yeah. So they tried to just put it together. So it's on escape. Escapes.
Maybe it is a regional thing, but yeah, I always pronounce it escapes, not escape.
Stay cool. Stay whip. Cool.
Anyway,
oh, it might be. It was just something I noticed.
More importantly is entropy.
Entropy, yeah. Entropy, yeah.
So whenever you're ready, go ahead and give us a read.
Okay. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Oh, this was so cool. I liked it.
Yeah, opening it up. What did you all think?
This felt so different from everyone else's in like a good way.
I only have one tiny thing on the first line. I want you to look down on the player just a tiny bit more. Like, have you ever seen a spider like on your wall, and then you go to get something to kill it and it's gone, and then you look for it and you find it again? I kind of want that to be this. It's like,
and it's kind of some kind of there you are kind of thing.
It's like, oh, I remember you. I was gonna kill you.
Okay. Yeah.
If it helps to get yourself physical with it, do that. If you need to like physically hold your head high to give yourself the feeling of we have business, I have beef with you, do it.
Yeah, I think the business might be throwing you off a little bit, but this quote unquote business is like, oh, that's right. I have to finish my chore of ending your life. That's what's keeping you quote unquote busy.
Yeah, I still want to hear that Ice Troll King.
Funny enough, I found, compared to all the other reads I've been reading, I loved your take of like the very lackadaisical, the world like I loved, and it wasn't that, it was like a little bit sing-songy, but like it wasn't distract. Like I loved it. It felt so refreshing, and it felt like it was like, yeah, this makes sense. It's like the world will end. It's like da 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 da. There's this mundane sort of. I like that. It's cool.
Let's go ahead. Why don't you give us an ABC take of the first line? Because I think we've got a good performance out of you for the most part. Let's just get an ABC on the first line, and then we might have to move on from there.
Okay. ABC of first line. Okay. We have unfinished business, you and I. We have unfinished business, you and I. We have unfinished business, you and I.
Interesting. Okay, for me, I don't know if you guys hear it, but for me, I like one the most because I actually really like the exhausted, tired. It's almost implying it's like, oh, this again, you again. Like I kind of like that vibe. I'm into that. I think if you go into it like you're a little bit like exasperated, I'm kind of into that.
I actually liked the second one better myself.
Interesting.
I'm partial to
Well,
the
I like the third one, so there.
I'm on team 3 personally.
Exactly.
We're outnumbered, Barry.
I'm on team 3. The reason being is because team 3, for all of you out there, representing, you gave yourself that little bit of a lead in with that chuckle. And while I wouldn't necessarily say that you should include that into the actual take, I like what came of it afterwards. There was a little bit more character in it from the beginning because of that lead in that you gave it.
Yeah, when I did that, I had a hand gesture where like I'm trying to just clean the lint off my nails as I'm saying it.
And we've talked about it before, getting your body into it and getting more physical with your actual performances really makes a big difference. So I definitely heard it on that third one.
Cool. This one's
right.
was challenging.
Yeah. Well, if it doesn't challenge you, you're not going to grow. So moving right along, Leonard.
Thank you.
You are up.
Okay.
You better hear the Troll King, I swear.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
All right. Thoughts? Opening it up.
I liked it, but it wasn't the Troll King, or what I imagined to be the Troll King.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
I was
we
having
can.
some problems before. Excellent. Yeah, it had like this very kind of ethereal, breathy feel that for me was kind of working. Definitely not Troll King, but like it was kind of this ethereal other being that was pretty cool. I have one question for you to think about. How do you feel about the tear widening?
It's I'm in favor, but it doesn't even matter that I'm in favor because it's inevitable.
Okay. Cool. Those are my notes.
I think it's towards the line where it was each time I drag her back, the tear widens. You almost lost the feeling of it being a calm villain and felt more like you were just stating the facts.
Okay.
I don't
Is that just
think
an
that's a bad
observation,
thing.
or is that a critique?
Yeah.
Just something I noticed.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. That is kind of where I was going.
Okay, if that's where you're going, that's valid. That's totally valid. Then it's then it worked.
Yeah. If people want to direct me away from it, that's fine.
No. That if that's what you were going for, it worked.
Okay.
I had to think about it for a little bit because I wasn't sure how I felt about it. But I think I the same as with Justin, I want you to look down a tiny bit more on that first line. Because for me, what I'm getting right now is, they're not equals, but they aren't that far. That's what I'm getting from that. It's like this town ain't big enough for the both of us. That kind of feeling where, one is probably better. One can be assumed to be better, but it's not that big of a difference I'm feeling. Another thing too, I think it would be interesting. I want you to replace the villain in your head, and I want you to approach this as an antagonist, because it's just an obstacle. It doesn't really matter that it's you, because this will happen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't stop you, someone else will, because you can't stop this.
Anything else?
No, go for it.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Ooh. I like that.
This is
But I do have
definitely a more
one-
fun read.
Mm-hmm. I like that one a lot more too. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Alice. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I forgot I was unmuted. But my thing was really just a curiosity thing. Just out of curiosity, could we do one where instead of a list, where each time she escapes, and because of that, I drag her back, and as a result of that, the tear widens. Can we try that as you're just stating 3 facts, as in like the birds fly, the ocean stirs, the sun rises. Like these 3 things just happen.
Okay.
I'm gonna actually push back against that just a little bit because unless my interpretation of unless my interpretation of the script is off, it almost seems like every time she escapes, the tear widens. Every time I drag her back, the tear widens. The end is inevitable no matter what you do or what she does or what I do.
I agree with that take.
I think there is a sense of like escalating something sort of thing. There's like this, you don't want to deny that. So if you keep resetting it to a base level, I think.
Let me actually I guess I'll say you know what? Having you guys say that, I think it's clarified what my actual issue is. It's that you're treating these periods as commas. And that's what's sort of giving me that impression that it's it just feels off to me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It did kind of feel like you kind of blasted through that whole phrase. It's just like each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. It's just you kind of went through that really quickly as opposed to like letting each of those sort of breathe and have the stakes. She escapes,
I
and
gotcha.
therefore I drag her back.
I do think you had a lot of fun with this read, but it felt almost too like a little extra. It felt like you were trying. And you don't need to try. Less is more, I think, is what you need to.
So he's putting on too much of a performance. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think you can definitely go for a less is more approach. I think this felt too like I'm rubbing it into your face. And it's like, I don't think this guy is rubbing it into his face that he's screwed. It's just, you are screwed. You are screwed.
Okay.
Matter of fact, you were screwed. Like, you're not, you were screwed. Ha ha.
Yeah, I gotcha. One more?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Yeah. That second to last line was
Nailed that
awesome.
shit. Let's go.
Loved
That
it.
was sick.
Let's go.
I have no notes.
Slow down that last line. Just give me a retake of the very last line.
I was gonna ask.
I'll give you 3.
In stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. It is inevitable. It is inevitable.
Anybody else on team 3 with me?
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Me.
I think they all work, honestly. I was fine with them.
The first one's too quick. First one was still too quick. That is kind of the crowning line in this whole thing. So it needs to have its own sort of gravitas, its own, it needs to have a special place. So delivering it too quickly is an instant no. But I really liked the pace of line 3 or of the retake 3. So that was it. That was my one qualm. The rest of it was fantastic. So you absolutely nailed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think what helped was I think you took in the whole like just be more matter of fact about it. Don't rub it in, and I think it helped for sure.
Thank you for the direction.
So let's go ahead and move it right along. Emily, you're up.
Alrighty. Can y'all hear me? Okay, is it not too echoey?
You're
I
fine.
kind of moved
Don't
it a little
worry
bit.
about it. Don't worry about it. You're fine.
Okay. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Excuse me?
What? What?
That was fantastic.
There was some cool, there was some really cool stuff there. I think okay. So first of all, I gotta say I liked your you read cannot be sated in a way no one else did, and it worked. My problem is that then you did it again for the "and" in cold, and it ruined it. It was like, okay, you get one. You get one of the that. But then you did it again. I'm like, no, you can't do it again. That's the given.
All right, so vary those up. Got it.
Yeah. But otherwise, yeah, I liked how you messed around
Really
with the pace of it. You went like kind of fast and then you slowed things down, and it was like really unpredictable and cool.
I think the beginning might need to be paced up a bit. I feel like you fell into it. Like it like started off slow and then you got the voice and then it just got better as it kept going.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It kind of felt like you were a little unsure of yourself, and you came into the character as you kept reading. So that probably would be one of those things where you just kind of go into it again.
Okay.
But kind of like own that power. Like you are this all powerful being that you know you're gonna inevitably take over the world in stillness and cold. Like own that. You are
Okay.
powerful. Own it.
I think that being said, Emily, if you want to stick with the and in cold, I think that could be really. But see, the problem is that then if you're going to break up and have the really slow inevitable, it'll probably be like too recency bias of like, oh, it's weird because now she slowed down here and then you slow it down again, and it's like this really stilted. People will be like, oh, it's a stilted performance because they were two
Okay.
back-to-back lines. Or maybe that's my maybe logic, but you can maybe finesse it and make it
Okay.
work. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what you try.
All right.
Let's hear it again.
Okay. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
I was waiting for someone to do a take like that. I was like, it's inevitable. Oh man, I was waiting for someone to do that. I think it works, right? It works. I don't know.
Michael looks like he
I'm not
disagrees.
sold by it personally, but
What is it? I don't know what it
open up.
reminds
What
me
do
of.
you all think?
I think I like the first take better.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm with you on that, Ashley.
I can take it or leave it.
It was certainly interesting, and I liked it, but maybe not for this character.
Not for this
if that makes
character,
sense.
okay.
Yeah, because I don't know who it reminds me of. And
It reminds me of Hell. Is it Hell or Hela or something from the Thor
Yeah.
Ragnarok, something like that?
I think it work. Yeah, it'd work better for that kind of character. This sort of
Okay.
throwaway, just it is inevitable. Like that. It's great, but not for this character. I think this
Okay.
is more of a ominous, slow, calm, collected, directed, pinpointed. You know what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, force of nature doesn't deliver a line with a shrug.
Okay.
To
Definitely
me,
makes
at
sense.
least.
Yeah, you see, the thing
Yeah,
is,
and I don't like the hitting of the and the way you've done in both of your reads so far.
And in cold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you change up there?
just remove the emphasis on and.
Just kind of cooking it up.
Okay. Okay.
Like you can do like in stillness and in cold, but not in stillness and in cold.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
It makes it sound almost a little desperate, but this is not a person who's desperate.
Okay.
So give us one more.
One more. Okay. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Yeah, that's the take.
Yep, there it is.
That's the take. That's the one.
I wasn't sure how I felt about the ending. I didn't
Really?
know how I See, I think the problem is that it almost didn't feel intentional. It almost felt like you ran out of air, but maybe not. Like I think it's like teetering on that for me. I don't know.
I didn't run out of air. I intended it. And I mean,
and we can always like get 3 endings and pick one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like yeah, I mean, I feel like it's like so easy for you to fix it. Like you know where to place it. So
okay, so did you want me to do a ABC?
I don't think
Is that
you
what you're
need
saying?
to. I don't think you need to.
I genuinely don't
Yeah,
think you need
I
to.
don't need
I really
it.
liked
Okay.
the way that you ended it in the first take. I
Okay.
liked that ending quite
Yeah.
a bit, and I think using that would probably be perfect.
Okay. Okay, cool. Well, thanks, y'all.
All right, Ashley, you're up.
Hi there. How am I sounding?
Perfect.
Great.
Good.
Awesome.
Go for it.
Cool. Let's do it.
We have some unfinished business, you and I. My realm is a gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay, opening it up. What did you all think?
Cool hearing like a very different take from Emily's because you meant much more sultry, almost like femme fatale, which I don't know, man. Am I supposed to think the force of nature is sexy? I don't know, man.
You can. She can be.
Yeah, I'm with Barry. It did have a very femme fatale feeling, but I loved it.
Same.
It gave that feeling of
this
like
one because
dangerous, but dangerous with an edge.
It's
I
giving
like this
the.
one because it
Oh,
played
sorry,
it
Alice.
to
Go ahead.
what I have in my head. See, I was always thinking of this as like an epithet for a person, the Beast of Winter. So I think this plays into that really well, and I like that.
It's so. This is going to be kind of a really strange metaphor. The way that sounded was like a bladed snowflake. Cold, pretty, but deadly at the same time. Like if somebody made a shuriken shaped like a snowflake.
I love
Best way I
that.
could describe
Agree.
it.
Absolutely agree. I was seeing like a snow princess almost kind of thing with the way you were speaking, but like an evil snow princess. And I know that's not the vibe that the instructors were going for, but it was what I saw.
Snow princess. That's a way to put it. That's for sure.
A couple minor notes. You also did the stillness and in cold. So maybe just watch that emphasis there. And it's maybe just me, but if we're gonna emphasize cannot, I almost like the sound of cannot versus cannot. Just a minor note for me, but I like this sort of evil snow queen type vibe you got going. Personally, it's working for me, but yeah.
Now that you said that, part of me did wonder if you were like half committing to like an almost pseudo British accent thing. There was almost a posh thing going on, and then it kept like dropping out, and then it completely dropped out. And it was like, it felt like you wanted to go there almost. I don't know. Maybe it was just me. Because when you said cannot, like it makes you think, oh, I don't know, it's just trying to be.
And that exact statement is part of why I usually wait until the second read through to speak up on my critiques. Because I definitely picked up on that too.
That's so funny. That's not the first time I've gotten that for a villain voice, even when I'm not trying to sound posh or British. I think it might just be my natural accent.
Okay. Well, why don't you go ahead and give it to us? Give us one more read. I would like to hear, at least with the last 3 lines, ending off more in down notes. I want you to try to play up how serious you are that this is going to end in your favor.
Sure.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is a gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and cold. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Can you give us
Good,
an ABC
correct.
take on the second to last line, please?
Second to last. So,
Second to
say
last.
that. Okay. Just one take?
ABC, 3 of them.
Oh, ABC. Sorry, I didn't hear that. All right.
The world will end in stillness and in cold. The world will end in stillness and in cold. The world will end in stillness and in cold.
I'd take. I'd go with the second take personally. I'm gonna
Same.
go ahead and open it up.
Mhm.
What did you all think?
I will say I feel like you used a lot more vocal fry, especially on the drag her back. Like, and I think it worked. I think it worked for you, but I think you might have be careful not to reuse it or don't overuse it rather. But I think
I'm
I
gonna
think you were
bear it.
very consciously like vocal fry was like pretty cool. Just be careful.
On the ABCs, I was kind of hoping for a take where you have a pause after end. But other than that,
I guess I wanted to make sure
I'm reasonably happy.
you know what vocal fry is, by the way, when
I do. Yes.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Okay.
I liked the what's the word I'm looking for? Differentiation. That's not the word I'm looking for. Contrast. That's the word I'm looking for. When, like Barry said, when you added the vocal fry, the contrast between that and the parts without it, it had. I am grasping for words today that I cannot find.
Like different texture, kind of.
Texture. Barry, yes, thank you. Texture. The different texture.
I'm on fire today.
Yeah, the texture it gave it. I loved it.
Yeah, it was definitely a standout read because very different from a lot of other approaches. So, really good job. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
All right, now it's my turn. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. Okay, opening it up.
I think it's
Really
super-
like that last part. Sort of made it where it's like your victory is assured.
The ending, I actually, I thought it was really neat, and it was something that I don't think anyone's done yet, where I could see this character viewing the future, just like, isn't it beautiful? But I do, just out of pure curiosity, I did love this one, absolutely, but I do want one where we carry the that sort of threatening ominousness a little bit harder in the end. Just the teensiest bit.
Yeah, I was really on board for. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Leonard.
Yeah. I love the last line. The rest of it sounded like a great message from the Beast of Winter Inc.
It
I was gonna say,
felt
I actually didn't mind that you were using basically your natural speaking voice and just slightly lowered volume. If I wouldn't mind hearing a different, more character voice or whatever, if you just for funsies, but
would it
just to see if it
make
changed it.
would it make sense if I said it felt like you were a talking pencil?
I mean, not exactly, but then again,
I know. I
So,
say
so
it
in
weirdly.
that's
are
it.
unique to
Is
them.
it? Is it?
It
Was there a
felt like you were a
stiffness?
talking pencil. And what I mean, yeah, Barry, what I mean is it felt like you were talking standing still. I didn't hear the ability to see any movement with the character.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Now, I agree that I didn't see any movement, but I think that worked really well here. Because I got the impression that, you know, he was watching maybe the protagonist from a bit of a distance, and it's like, this guy really thinks that he's gonna put a stop to this thing that's so much bigger than both of us.
I mean, maybe you can contextualize it as like a sense of stoicism or something. It's like just very.
Let's see. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can add more movement, more life into the read. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Beautiful.
Hey, no more pencil.
No more pencil?
I'm feeling it,
Okay.
dude.
As long as there was no pencil in
No
that
more
one.
talking pencil. Yeah, I like this take on it is inevitable better. I probably wouldn't have put so much of a pause between it is, but the last read I felt like it was you were kind of throwing it away, like you're like, there it goes, my last fuck, there it goes. Whereas this one was like it was more intimidating. It was more ominous. So I like this one much better. And great just great emotions all throughout. I think that lots of varied things going on there. So I thought that was a really good read, right, Michael? Very good.
Okay. Again, I just want to make sure that it wasn't as flat as the last one was. Anything else? Anybody else?
It wasn't as flat as the first one, but I still feel like there could be a bit more given to it without it veering off into camp.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't. I'm still having trouble quite putting my finger on it, but it feels like it was a technically good read, but it feels like it's missing something to give it a little bit more seasoning. Like I said, it's a technically solid read, but I'm having trouble finding it's not giving Beast of Winter.
I guess, Michael, how do you feel about the events that are unfolding?
Well, I have some history and some business to settle with the main character. There is. I've prepared myself specifically for this. There's only victory in the future, and there's only the end of the world with that victory.
And are you reserved to that? Are you excited about it? Or are you just kind of
I'm ready to
blasé
unleash
about
it.
Okay. I'd like to hear a read as if you were really looking forward to it. You're excited about it. Not too over the top, but like even though you know it's inevitable, you know it's going to happen, this brings you great joy.
Okay.
It's gonna be a tightrope for sure, because you don't want to be too like bombastic about it. You have to be able to express it without
Yeah.
going into
Yeah.
like Joker moments.
Yeah. Like kind of have that underneath everything, if that makes sense at all. But
Okay.
yeah, see what you do.
Let's give it one more go. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Also, oh my god, you just did the Ellis hand thing at the end. Oh my god, back. It was awesome. It worked. No. So no, in all seriousness, I think the physicality of what you did helped you a lot. You put a little devilish smile at the beginning and it painted everything like it was great. It was good.
The last line had me in chills because you didn't do the throwaway shrug of it's inevitable, but you didn't go the deep, dark, it is inevitable that Marcus did. It was right there in the middle. And it had that chilling quality to it that I can't describe with words, but I loved.
Okay, cool. Well, again, so did that bring a little bit more life?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and move it right along then.
Wow. Okay. So someone in the Discord chat is quoting Aslan from Narnia.
Yeah, that was from
Evil
Aslan.
Aslan.
That was from the previous read. So.
Okay.
But Royce, you're up.
All right. We have unfinished business. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay, opening it up. What did you all think?
So close to like perfect for me. But the problem is I started noticing that every single time you emphasize the second word the exact same way when you start every new phrase. Like da 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 da. It's
I'll
like
have to
this.
keep that in mind.
Yeah.
It was the same thing like I mentioned to Justin, the talking box thing.
Yeah.
Visual words.
So something that I noticed is that you tend to also you tended to not emphasize some of the key places that you could have really played with some of the words, really characterized it a little bit more. Gaping maw is one of those things. Entropy. You know, my realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. You know, cannot is kind of the key word there. And again, I am sounding a little bit line ready, but that's only because there are specific places. You can choose where to throw in the emphases that you want to, but there are specific places where they naturally end up being. So, for instance, also, you want to make sure that if things change, like if you have like words that repeat, you want to emphasize the things that are around those words. So each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, those are things you want to emphasize more than each time, both times.
Got it.
So I felt that you have a good general tone and general feel for where you want to go with it, but you can add in more emotion and more characterization.
Yeah. I guess in a broad sense, maybe like add a bit more drama to certain parts of it, I guess.
In a broad sense, yeah, because this is again, it is a script for a video game, so this does give you some of that room to bring more of yourself into it.
Mm.
So let's just try it again. If it doesn't work, we can always just get you. We can always bring you back down. That's not a problem. But let's hear it with a little bit more drama throughout the whole thing. Let's just see what that sounds like. Whenever you're ready.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
You see, that I liked better than the previous read.
Mm.
You had more emotion, more expression in that one. We may need to adjust it up a little bit more here or there, but I'm going to open it up. What do you all think?
Don't be afraid to chew on the words a little bit. Like, something that I've kind of learned in doing these VO workouts is that you're not reading, you're speaking. And that's going to affect how you deliver the copy versus like saying yes, it's inevitable, or my realm is the gaping maw of entropy, as a matter of fact, versus you're not reading it, you're saying it, you're stating a fact about your realm. It is the gaping maw, the oozing mouth of what will come to destroy everything.
Mm.
Like the word choice and the word track here, you want, like I said, you want to chew on it some, actually have the words have meaning.
So in a sense, on those keywords, maybe like grip it more.
Right. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the same words as each of us picked, but at the same time, like I said, you're speaking, you're not reading, and you're not, as you're speaking, you, like, even as I'm speaking now, you can hear like some variance in my voice as I try to put more emphasis on certain words and kind of back off and pull back on different ones, because I'm still trying to convey an idea. And I don't know where the rest of that sentence was going, but
And that is how, yeah, that's basically what we're trying to direct you to, is
Got it.
to make these words your own.
Okay.
So go ahead, give us one more.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay. Opening it up.
Interesting.
What did you all think of that one?
I have one minor nitpick.
Mm-hmm.
The tear widens is a part of that previous statement, even if it is a separate sentence.
Yeah.
And that the way that it was delivered, at least on this last read through, is that it was this is this. The tear widens. The energy of that last part felt different than the others, and so it gave off a different, like it was part of a different sentence, even though, like I said, the previous two sentences are both, at least in my interpretation of it, both actions mentioned previously in that block of copy both cause the tear to widen. So while they may not be all the same sentence, they are still all a part of the same idea.
Got it.
But
Okay.
that's the only nitpick I had. I like the rest of the copy, or the rest of the read.
One thing I heard was at the ending line that it is inevitable. It kind of sounded like you were shaky, like you were almost scared of it being inevitable in a way. And I don't know if that was just you running out of breath or being unsure or what, but that's just how it came across to me.
I think that last line, it was a bit odd since I was playing this scenario in my head a bit, but I sort of like lifted my head up a bit
Okay.
when saying it. So that might have been, it was a bit of mentality situation wise where
Okay.
I was thinking of it a bit differently. But yeah, I get it.
It was
And that
interesting.
was the last violation of the Dan rule you get.
No.
I was waiting.
You're
So
forgiven
speaking
for
of that
now
line,
because it is the first time. No problem. But that's the last one you get.
yeah, no, like speaking of that line though, I actually found it interesting that you had this like hitched breath in between the end because it was almost like you were slightly excited, but like it was interesting. It was like, whoa, I feel like you can almost do something like that there.
Yeah, I think I went a bit in the last bit.
Like you almost like
more
jumped the
channeling.
gun.
Yeah, a bit slightly unhinged-ish. Just sort of like added that in, but it was a bit spontaneous.
I think that's cool. I think you can maybe make that work if you try to deliberately do that.
Well, then try to put it together. Let's hear one more read,
Uh,
and then we'll have to
for overall vibe, I'm wanting to hear a little more force of nature, and I'm not getting quite enough Ice King and getting a little too much Ice Henchman.
Voice of nature. Sorry, what do you mean by that?
Force of nature.
Oh, force of nature. Pff, my bad.
Would you guys call that the same as otherworldly, by the way? I saw that recently in like an audition spec, and I was like, huh.
we
Not
can talk about
necessarily.
audition specs in at another time, but I mean we do need to let Royce apply these directions right now. So whenever you're ready, Royce, go ahead and give us an
All right. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
And that was your best read so far.
Thank you.
Really solid. Really, really solid.
Yeah, well done.
Agreed.
That was the first time, by the way, that I've heard somebody not pause after it, but still maintain a good pace for the last line. I found that really interesting that it worked.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's amazing what some actors can pull off when others can't. All right. Well, Royce, you did a fantastic job. We're going to go ahead and move it right along.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are on.
All right.
No, thank you.
Here we
Royce.
go. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
That was sick. I didn't expect that out of you. That was sick.
Thank you.
Solid. But, nitpick here. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back. You put a lot of emphasis at the beginnings of those. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back. You want to, again, move it from the things that repeat to the actual differences.
Yeah, and it felt that area almost felt like you were talking about each time your dog escapes and each time you have to go and drag your dog back in. It felt like a chore. It felt like a chore.
Make that really sinister. Each time I drag her back is something, watching her kicking and screaming as you pull her back into this realm of entropy is something that your character really enjoys. You enjoy seeing the pain and suffering on her face as it happens.
All right.
Bring up.
I like this but maybe staying like this is keeping you in a single position. Maybe you gotta stop. Don't freeze frame in here.
All right.
Maybe it'll help you a little bit. I think it's helping you, but
Whenever you're ready, give us
Can I
another
jump
take.
in?
All right.
Real quick.
It almost feels like it's leaning too much into maniacal.
And
Or
that's
starting to
why-
get there.
And that's why I think having a little bit more of that varied emotion each time I drag her back can help add that contrast. I'm on the same page with you, Emily.
Okay. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is the gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
All right, opening it up. What did you all think?
That's stillness and cold. Sorry.
All right.
Minor.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say super minor. That's a lot of pressure on Cole's shoulders. And say, don't forget, even if it's a minor little bit of the D, try to make sure it's still in there, because especially since Cole is a common-ish name.
Right.
Like you're not going cold, but having at least some kind of a glottal stop or something at the end might make it sound a bit more like cold, because it definitely sounded just like Cole.
Okay. I have an issue with them. Okay, let's see.
But
Maybe I'll
that's all I
do
got.
a retake of that.
Yeah. For me, cold sounded like a question mark. It sounded like cold.
In stillness and in cold.
Cold? I was like, yeah. And
All
I
right.
think around each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, it felt like you were sort of really gasping for air. It felt like you took a full breath for each sentence and you just blasted through all of that through each sentence. And it felt like you were out of breath. And I think that was lending to that sort of tired chore feeling, as opposed to the sort of powerful ominous. So if you can save that taking a breath or completely emptying out your lungs till after you're done with that word, I think that'll help with that, because it was just like each time she escapes, I was like, are you tired about that? Like, which is a vibe, but I felt like it wasn't quite what you were going for.
You
But
gave me
otherwise,
the
pretty solid.
You gave me the vibe of like an ancient god, and I loved it.
I mean, it's inspired by Morgoth. That's what I got in mind.
I really enjoyed both of your reads so far.
Thank you. All right, so I guess I'll do the later half and try to fix the stuff.
Yes. Yeah, just the
All
last
right.
half. So the last three
All right,
lines.
all right. Actually, let's try this. Yeah. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
All right. We got it. We're done. We're good.
Absolute chills.
All right.
Spot on.
All right, good.
All right. Moving right along. Barry, and then we'll end the stream, but we're not done with the meeting. So,
cool.
Whenever you're ready, Barry.
All right. We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is a gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay, opening it up. What did you all think?
This
Royalty.
kind of
That's what I
go
got.
ahead. Royalty.
No, so sorry. Go ahead.
I did not get royalty. I got like court jester vibes. I didn't.
I
think
was
this
gonna say Loki.
This character voice didn't quite work for me. It felt like way too high pitched and way too breathy for me.
Okay.
It felt like you were on the verge of like laughing. That's where I was kind of getting kind of court jester kind of vibes. It kind of felt like there was a laugh behind everything, and I was just like, it didn't quite work for me.
So I see where you're coming from on that. I don't think that it's the voice itself that's a problem. I think the character is fine. It's the way that you're ending off your sentences. Each one of them is ending off kind of airy and aloof and disconnected. Not very threatening, not very imposing as a character. You can have the same voice. You can use that same voice. But something that's going to add to the threat, add to the imposition, is the emphasis
down
ending off on
notes.
down
Yeah.
notes, ending
Yeah,
off
down
on
notes.
mid notes. Use more of those, because most of these have just been ended up on the flippant up notes and the sweeps and whatnot. They're just kind of, okay, whatever. It sounded more flippant, like you just didn't care about anything, rather than you being invested in settling this.
Maybe that's why I
Yeah.
got the royalty vibes, because you were.
Yeah.
It felt like you were looking.
peasants.
Oh,
Yeah, it's almost like-
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
it was very aloof as a delivery goes. So no. The thing is you can start that way if you want to. We have unfinished business, you and I. You can easily do something like that. But then you want to start focusing in
Be more
on
menacing.
who
Yeah,
you're talking
the ominous
to.
and the
Yes. Yes. Bring up the threat. Make sure that they know you're serious.
Yeah, and coming off of that,
Yeah,
just
it felt to me like. Go ahead, Royce.
Go ahead, Royce.
Yeah, just like a specific point. Coming off of that point, that each time I drag her back, the drag her back being like a up down then up again, but like maybe just like a descend down, I guess.
Go ahead, Leonard.
Yeah, to me, it felt like every sentence was delivered with a shrug.
Okay.
Right, so
I'll try to make it not such a character, such a pronounced.
No. Again,
character trait.
the character voice isn't the problem, and the character isn't the problem. It's the fact that you need to turn up the threat and the seriousness as you go through. So
Yeah,
again, you can
yeah.
start off just as flippant as it was before, but then you have to really focus in and make sure that whoever you're talking to knows you are serious.
Cool. Yeah.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm is a gaping maw of entropy, the hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the terror widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
See, that had a lot more of that serious this time around. It definitely didn't feel as flippant or as aloof and disconnected and royalty-like. The only problem is that it was way too quick. You were tearing right through that script. Slow it down. Anybody else? Opening it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the one thing I noticed was the tear widens line. It didn't feel like it particularly had enough of that gravity to it. That was the one line where I noticed the flippancy come back. Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like I've said a couple times before, these lines are quick, and the spot is I posted the link earlier. If I remember correctly, the actual video for this is a full minute with like the rated M for mature and everything leading up into it. But even trimming that out, this is probably like a 35-40 second spot. You've got time to let this breathe. Let those words find their gravity. Like the very beginning, still with that little bit of a flippant attitude to it, I loved. But the the rest of it still it was fast enough that it lost all gravity from it. Like you're talking about the end of existence here. Let it
I
breathe.
think the vibe that I get is that it's like the second and the third line to me feel almost unimportant, and I'm like wanting to get to the fourth and the like second half. So it's like I think it's just like inherently I'm like speeding through 2 and 3, and it's like
No, those are important. You do not speed through that. What you're telling this person, this player, is that you are bringing absolute hell.
Is Barry breaking the Dan rule?
Yeah. Yes, indeed he is. So, every line has a purpose, and make sure to focus on that purpose. You're setting up the threat.
Something that may help you give those the lines 2 and 3 a little more meaning is that tear is a tear in the barrier between the player's world and the villain's world, where his realm is the gaping maw of entropy that cannot be sated. Like explaining why that tear is as important as it is, but burying the lead a little bit in saying, what about your realm is so villainous and cold? Does that help at all?
Yeah. I've got some ideas. Let's see if we can nail
Go
this.
for it.
We have unfinished business, you and I. My realm. My realm is a gaping maw of entropy. The hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Okay, opening it up. What did you all think?
I feel like some of the uptones came back a bit on like entropy widens and inevitable.
It almost felt like you were trying to sing to us. Almost.
Dang it, man. I'm trying to give it a different shade from all of your other guys's. So I'm like really trying to give it my own spin.
By you speaking it, you already are giving it your own spin. Don't worry about us.
Yeah,
we'll help
really
guide it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Marcus. Like you really are giving it your own spin. It's just that there's a specific goal that we're trying to reach, and that is to communicate the seriousness that your character has. That's what we're trying to get from you. And we're missing it on some things. And again, going up into that flippant, upsweep at the ends of your phrases is killing that. It's making you sound like you just don't care about the whole thing. It's so far beneath you. And while that's a take, you could go with that. It's not really communicating any kind
it doesn't.
of
Yeah,
threat.
I guess to that point, it's not like a
needs to
god
be
character.
A threat. That is what we need. We need a threat from you.
Yeah,
So
I think.
This is why I'm saying that like you need to know when to take that character and bring them down, and almost like bring the hands in front, cross them, and lean forward in your chair when you talk to the person that you're talking to.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear. I don't have a problem with the character voice. That was never an issue to begin with. It was just how serious you were being and how intense you were being towards who you're talking to. You still haven't reached that yet.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, no, I think I get that point, because I think it's a little bit of like you're not really getting to get that cosmic entity sort of type of something.
And it's not even that. It's not even the cosmic entity that we're really going for here. So in looking at the script, whenever it says each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens, what are you really saying to the person? You're really saying, it's inevitable. I'm getting closer. My time is coming. That is what you're saying to the player. So you need to communicate that. Like, each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. You know, I am
That's okay. See, that's cool. I like you still had that sense of mocking, but it didn't feel the flippant mocking. It felt like threatening mocking. I like that because I've been trying to be like trying to do my own take of trying to rub it in without being too over the top, and it's like that's interesting. Okay,
So for
that's
me,
cool.
the way that happened was the tear widens. You know, being
Yeah.
very, very conscious
Deliberative,
about
yeah.
that, very deliberate about it. So give that a try. Be more deliberate about the things that truly are threatening. And just the last 4 lines. We don't need it from the very, very top. Just the last 4 lines.
So starting from the hunger, last 4 lines.
Yes, starting from the hunger.
Okay. The hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Yeah, you're still being really soft on those. So I want
Yeah, I
you to
took
start
out all the
ramping up.
breathiness and then
I want
yeah,
you to start
interesting.
ramping up the intensity. Get closer to the microphone. Lean forward. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. You know, like you're getting into
Ramping
their
up.
face. Yes,
Ramping
your
up. Okay.
face. You're getting right into their face about it. So that's what I want you to do. I wanted you to start the 4th line just so you had a lead in for the character. But that's what I'm listening for. I'm listening for you really starting to be serious about this. You know, you're right up front. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable. You know, like get in on this.
It almost came out as robotic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the intensity needs to start ramping up. And that's going to be like tension in your shoulders, hunching forward, like tension in the arms, things like that.
Cool. Okay. All right. Let's try it. The hunger that cannot be sated. Each time she escapes, each time I drag her back, the tear widens. The world will end in stillness and in cold. It is inevitable.
Yeah, more like that.
Okay, interesting.
Had a lot more gravity to it.
It really did. It really did. It had a lot more presence. I was hoping you dropped a little bit after the tear widens. You softened it up a little bit on the world ends in stillness and in cold. I really think that you should have. I really think that with this character, if you do like a 180 turn, like right at each time she escapes, where you start just like really leaning in on it and like really tensing up and getting into it, breaking that character a little bit while still staying in that voice, you could really sell an amazingly good delivery on this. And it would just take a little bit of trying, you know, a little bit more practice and pushing that out. But the recording has gone over 3 hours, so I'm gonna go ahead and call the recorded portion of the mic check. But that meeting isn't over, so if you still want to keep hanging out, we still have a couple people we do need to get through. But for everybody else who is joining us outside of Zoom, thank you all very much, and we'll see you next time.